My wife told me she needed space, so every Friday night she went out with her friends. I trusted her. But one night, curiosity got the best of me. I followed her, and what I found? It wasn't girls' night. It was betrayal. And that betrayal was about to cost her everything. When Claire first told me she wanted girls' night Fridays, I didn't think much of it. We'd been married for 3 years, and honestly, I figured it was healthy. Every relationship needs breathing room, right? She framed it as a way to stay connected with her friends. Dinner, drinks, maybe some karaoke. She'd come home smelling like perfume, laughing about silly bar stories, and I'd smile thinking she was happy. But slowly, something felt off. At first, it was little things. She used to send me texts while she was out, goofy selfies with her friends, quick updates about what they were doing, but that stopped. Then, her outfits started changing. Friday nights used to mean jeans and a casual top. Suddenly she was in heels, dresses, lipstick I hadn't seen her wear in years. When I'd ask where she was going, she'd snap, "Don't be controlling. It's just girls' night." I laughed it off. Maybe she just wanted to feel good about herself. But my gut wouldn't let it go. One Friday, she came home late. Way later than usual. 3 in the morning. Her excuse? The girls lost track of time. We were at Jenny's place after the bar, I nodded, pretending to believe her. But my chest burned. Jenny lived across town, and Claire didn't smell like a bar. She smelled like cologne. I couldn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, listening to her steady breathing beside me, wondering if I was losing my mind, or if my marriage was already gone. The following week, I tested her. When she got ready, I casually asked, "Oh, where are you guys going tonight?" She froze for half a second, then forced a smile. "Uh, just the usual. Dinner, maybe dancing," but she didn't say where. That was it. My decision was made. If she wasn't going to tell me the truth, I'd find it myself. The next Friday, I waited until she left. I gave her a 10-minute head start, then slipped into my car and followed. She drove across town, not toward the restaurants or bars where she usually claimed to be. My pulse hammered in my ears as I kept a few cars behind her. Finally, she pulled into a small parking lot outside an upscale apartment complex. My stomach dropped. I watched as she stepped out of the car, smoothed her dress, and walked quickly toward the entrance. She didn't even look around, like she'd done this before. Moments later, the lobby door opened. A man, tall, clean-cut, smiling. He kissed her cheek as if it was the most natural thing in the world. And then they disappeared inside together. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Every doubt, every suspicion, it was all confirmed. My wife's girls' nights weren't with her friends. They were with him. And as I sat there in the darkness, fury building in my chest, one thought consumed me. She thought she was clever. She thought she was untouchable. But she had no idea. I was about to take everything from her. I sat there in my car, staring at that apartment building long after Claire disappeared inside. My chest was tight, my stomach twisted into knots. This wasn't just a random fling. The way she smiled at him, the comfort in her body language. It was practiced, rehearsed. This was routine. I wanted to storm inside, drag her out, scream at them both. But instead, I forced myself to breathe, to wait, to think. Because blind rage only gets you a fight. Careful patience gets you victory. Claire finally came home just past midnight. She kicked off her heels, humming softly as if nothing was wrong. I watched her from the couch. "How was girls' night?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. She froze for half a second, then smiled. "It was good. Just dinner and a couple drinks," I nodded, my face unreadable. "With Jenny?" Her smile faltered. Yeah, Jenny and the others." I almost laughed. The others. She couldn't even name them. Over the next week, I became a detective. I checked our phone bill, hundreds of texts and calls to an unknown number. I tracked her car's GPS history, every Friday night, the same address. And the final piece? A small camera hidden inside her car. That Friday, when she drove to the same apartment, I had a front row seat to her betrayal. The footage showed her touching up her lipstick, checking herself in the mirror, smiling nervously like a teenager on a first date. Then she walked into the building where he was waiting. He kissed her, this time not on the cheek, but full on the lips. My hands shook as I watched, but it wasn't despair, it was fuel. At home, she acted like nothing was wrong. She'd crawl into bed beside me, kissing my cheek goodnight, whispering, "I love you." I almost laughed in her face. "You love me? You love my paycheck. You love the roof I keep over your head. You love the safety net I built so you can sneak out in heels every Friday night." I played along, though, smiling, pretending, waiting. Because when I finally struck, I wanted her to have no escape. One night, we sat down for dinner. She had cooked pasta, humming like life was perfect. "Claire," I said softly, twirling my fork. "Funny question. Do you ever think about loyalty?" She blinked, startled. "Loyalty? What do you mean?" I shrugged, my eyes fixed on hers. "Just being true to the people who love you? Being honest. Faithful." Her face went pale. She forced a laugh. "Of course. Why would you even ask that?" I smiled coldly. "No reason." She went quiet after that. She knew, maybe not the details, but she felt it. My suspicion, my shift in energy. That weekend, I doubled down. I followed her again, this time getting photos of her and the guy together. Them holding hands, laughing, his hand on her lower back as they walked inside. Every picture was another nail in her coffin. By the time she got home, I had a folder full of evidence, enough to blow up her world in an instant. And yet, as she slipped into bed, wrapping her arms around me, whispering, "You're the best husband," I just lay there in silence. Because soon, she'd know exactly what kind of husband I really was. Not forgiving, not patient, but calculating. I stared at the ceiling that night, imagining the look on her face when I finally revealed everything. The tears, the panic, the begging. And I knew one thing for certain. Claire thought she was playing me. But the truth? I was playing her. The more evidence I collected, the calmer I became. Most men would have exploded by now, yelled, fought, thrown her out. But that's exactly what she'd expect. She thought she held all the cards. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. Instead, I was going to break her slowly. By the end of the month, my folder was full. Screenshots of text messages, her gushing over him, calling him baby. GPS logs proving she was never at Jenny's. Photos of them holding hands outside the apartment. And of course, the hidden camera footage. Him kissing her in the car before they went inside. It was airtight. Unshakable. No way she could twist the story. I even backed everything up onto a secure drive. If she tried to play dirty in divorce court, I'd bury her. But I didn't confront her yet. Number. I wanted her to keep lying. Every fake smile, every "I love you," every Friday girls' night excuse. Because the more she lied, the more devastating the truth would be when it finally crushed her. At home, I played the part of the clueless husband. When she got ready on Fridays, I complimented her dresses. "You look beautiful tonight." She'd beam at me, thinking I was still blind. And when she came home past midnight, heels in her hand, I'd pretend to be half asleep on the couch. "Did you have fun?" I'd ask groggily. "Yeah," she'd whisper, kissing my cheek. "The girls say hi." And I'd smile, whispering back, "Glad you had a good time." Meanwhile, I was screaming inside, but I held it in, because patience was power. During the week, I quietly started rearranging my finances. I opened a separate bank account in just my name, moved half my savings into it, stopped depositing my paycheck into our joint account. She didn't notice, or maybe she was too distracted with her affair to care. Either way, when the hammer fell, she'd have no cushion to fall back on. One evening, I sat with my best friend Tom and finally told him everything. He stared at me in disbelief. "Man, you're serious? She's been cheating every week?" I slid the folder across the table. He flipped through the photos, his jaw tightening with every page. "Jesus Christ," he muttered. "She doesn't even look guilty." "She looks happy." I nodded. "That's the part that burns the most. She's not ashamed. She thinks she's clever." Tom leaned forward. "So what's your plan?" I smiled coldly. "To let her dig her own grave, and then to make sure everyone sees her fall into it." That weekend, Claire got dressed for another girls' night. A red dress, new perfume. She twirled in front of the mirror, smiling. "You like it?" she asked, striking a playful pose. I forced a warm grin. "You look stunning." She giggled, kissed me quickly, and left. The moment the door shut, I opened my laptop and transferred another copy of my evidence, this time into an email draft addressed to her parents, her siblings, and several of our closest friends. I didn't hit send yet. Not yet. But the draft sat there, waiting. One click, and her entire world would collapse. That night, when she finally slipped into bed beside me, whispering, "Good night, love," I stared at her in the dark. I studied her peaceful face, her steady breathing, her hand resting lightly on my chest. And all I could think was, "You don't even know your life is about to burn." The email draft sat in my inbox for days, taunting me. One click, and the game would be over. But I wanted the timing to be perfect. I wanted the explosion to be so loud that there was no way Claire could ever recover. And the perfect opportunity came on its own. Her parents invited us over for dinner the following weekend. They were excited, talking about planning a vacation together, bragging to neighbors about how happy our marriage was. Claire gushed about it too, smiling across the table, holding my hand like nothing was wrong. I almost laughed. She thought she was untouchable. But that night, I decided it was time. Halfway through dinner, while her parents were pouring wine, I pulled out my phone. "Actually," I said softly, "since we're talking about family vacations, there's something important you both should see." Claire froze. "What are you doing?" she hissed. I ignored her. A couple taps, and I projected the photos straight onto the TV screen. There it was, Claire in a red dress, holding hands with the guy, kissing him outside the apartment building. Her parents went silent. My father-in-law's jaw dropped. My mother-in-law's hand flew to her mouth. Claire's face went white. "This," my father-in-law stammered. "What? What is this?" Claire scrambled, panicked. "It's not what it looks like. I swear, it's not." I cut her off, my voice calm, controlled, deadly. "It's exactly what it looks like." Every Friday night, Claire's girls' night was at his apartment. I have texts, GPS, photos, even video. She's been lying to you. To me. To everyone. Her mother gasped, shaking her head. "Claire, tell me this isn't true." Claire burst into tears. I made a mistake." "It's not serious. It didn't mean anything." I laughed bitterly. "Not serious? A 3-month affair is not a mistake, Claire. It's a choice. A choice you made every week while I sat at home like a fool." Her parents looked shattered. Her father turned to me, his voice heavy. "Son, I am so sorry. I raised her better than this." I shrugged, cold. "You don't need to apologize." She made her choices, and now she'll face the consequences. Claire reached for me, sobbing. "Please don't do this here. Don't embarrass me in front of them." I pulled my hand back. "Embarrass you? No, Claire. You embarrassed yourself the moment you thought you could play me." After dinner, we drove home in silence. Claire cried the whole way, begging, promising, swearing it was over. I didn't say a word, because while her family now knew the truth, that was just the beginning. The email draft was still sitting there, and this time I sent it. To our friends, to our neighbors, to everyone in our circle. Within hours, the fallout began. Text messages lit up my phone. "Dude, I'm so sorry. Man, I can't believe she did that to you. Bro, are you okay?" And the ones that really stung, the ones addressed to her. "How could you do this? Wow, I thought you were better than that. You disgust me." By the next morning, her phone was buzzing nonstop. She tried to defend herself, tried to spin the story, but nobody was buying it. The proof was too clear. Her reputation, shattered. Her friendships, gone. And the best part? She had no idea what was coming next, because Mark hadn't felt the heat yet. That night, as she sat on the couch, sobbing into her hands, I stood by the window, staring at the city lights. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I smiled. Because this wasn't just revenge, this was justice. And I was only halfway finished. The fallout from the email blast was brutal. Claire barely touched her phone anymore. Every notification was another angry message, another friend cutting her off, another reminder that her carefully crafted image was in ashes. But if she thought the worst was over, she was dead wrong. Because I hadn't even started with Mark. See, the thing about Mark was he worked in the same industry as me. Not the same company, but close enough that names traveled. And reputations? They meant everything. So I did my homework. I found out who his boss was, looked through LinkedIn, dug around social media, even spoke casually with a colleague who had connections at Mark's office. Turns out, Mr. Perfect had just been recommended for a promotion, a big one, which meant my timing was flawless. I spent an entire evening compiling the Mark file, photos of him and Claire together, screenshots of their late-night texts, proof of their weekly hotel meetups disguised as business trips. And at the very end, a letter I wrote myself, calm, professional, but sharp as a knife. "Dear Sir, I felt it was important you know the character of the man you are considering for leadership. A man who has no problem lying, manipulating, and destroying the lives of those around him. Enclosed, you will find proof of his ongoing affair with my wife. I trust you will judge for yourself whether this is the kind of man you want representing your company." It wasn't angry. It wasn't emotional. It was devastating. The next morning, I sent it. By noon, I got confirmation from my colleague. Mark's boss had received everything. And by that evening, Mark was pulled into an urgent HR meeting. I imagined the look on his face when the folder hit his desk. The panic in his eyes when he realized his promotion wasn't just gone, it was his entire career at risk. And oh, how sweet that thought was. At home, Claire was pacing the living room, pale and shaking. "They know," she whispered. "Everyone knows. My mom won't even pick up my calls. My friends, they're all gone. What have you done?" I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, smirking. "What have I done? No, Claire. What you did. I just made sure everyone saw the truth." She crumbled onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "You're destroying me," she sobbed. I crouched down, meeting her tear-streaked face with ice in my eyes. "No, you destroyed us. I'm just making sure you feel it." 2 days later, word reached me through the grapevine. Mark had been quietly let go. The promotion? Dead. His boss had serious concerns about his integrity. And just like that, Mr. Perfect was unemployed. Claire found out too. She slammed the bedroom door that night, screaming at me. "You ruined his life. Do you have any idea what you've done?" I laughed coldly. "Ruined his life?" "Claire, he ruined his own when he touched mine." Her face twisted with rage, but behind her anger I saw it. Fear. Because she knew there was no bottom to how far I'd take this. That weekend I went a step further. I sent the same file to Mark's family, his parents, his siblings, even his college friends. The response was immediate. Claire showed me a text from him, his words dripping with panic. "My family knows. My mom won't even talk to me." "What the hell did your husband do?" Claire turned on me, furious. "Why are you dragging everyone into this? Isn't it enough you humiliated me?" I leaned closer, my voice a whisper. "Enough? No, Claire. It'll be enough when there's nothing left of the life you built on lies. And the best part? I wasn't done. Mark had lost his job. Claire had lost her family and friends. But soon, she was going to lose something far more important. Her marriage, her home, her entire future. Because the final stage of my plan was about to begin. By the time Mark's career went up in flames, Claire was a shell of the woman she used to be. She barely ate, barely slept. She'd sit on the couch all day, scrolling through her phone, reading the angry messages piling up in her inbox. Her friends, gone. Her family, ashamed. Her lover, unemployed, humiliated, and furious. And me, I was calm, patient, waiting for the final nail in the coffin. Because the ultimate revenge wasn't just humiliation. It was freedom. One Monday morning, I left a set of divorce papers on the kitchen table. Claire stumbled into the kitchen, her eyes swollen from another night of crying. She froze when she saw the papers, her hands trembling as she picked them up. "Divorce?" she whispered, her voice breaking. I nodded slowly. "Yes. You thought you could betray me and still keep me? No, Claire. You get nothing. No marriage, no money, no future with me." She collapsed into the chair, shaking her head. "Please, don't do this." I made a mistake. I was stupid. I wasn't thinking. I slammed my hand down on the table, my voice like ice. "Don't you dare call 3 months of sneaking around a mistake. That wasn't stupid. That was selfish, calculated. Every Friday, you chose him. You don't get to choose me now." Her tears flowed harder. "But I have nowhere to go. I can't go back to my parents. My friends won't even talk to me, and Mark—" She stopped herself, realizing what she had just said. I smirked. "And Mark? What about him? He lost his job because of you. His family hates him because of you. He can't save you. And I won't either." Her shoulders slumped. She looked utterly defeated. Exactly how I wanted her. Over the next few weeks, the legal process began. What Claire didn't know was that I had already moved half our money into my private account before any of this started. The joint account was nearly empty now. She had no savings of her own, no assets, nothing to stand on. When the divorce papers were finalized, the house stayed with me. The car, mine. The accounts, protected. Claire walked away with nothing but a suitcase of clothes and the reputation of a cheater that would follow her forever. The last time I saw her was outside the courthouse. She stood there in the rain, clutching her suitcase, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. She tried one last time, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, I have nowhere. Can't we at least talk?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "You had plenty of chances to talk, Claire. You chose lies. You chose betrayal. And now, you live with the consequences." Then I walked away, leaving her standing there in the storm, her mascara running down her face. It was over. Mark? I heard through the grapevine that he'd left town. Couldn't find work. Couldn't rebuild his reputation. Last anyone knew, he was crashing at a buddy's couch, drinking his nights away. Claire? Rumors floated around that she tried moving in with a distant cousin, but nobody wanted her long. Cheaters don't get sympathy. And me? I was free. For the first time in months, I slept soundly. I went back to the gym, reconnected with friends, even started dating again. And every time I caught myself smiling, every time I felt peace wash over me, I remembered that night outside the apartment building, the moment I saw her with him, the moment I decided she wasn't going to break me, the moment I chose revenge. So when people ask me now, do you regret it? Do you regret tearing her world apart? I just smile. No, I don't regret it at all. Because she destroyed our marriage. I just made sure she never forgot it.